Hey guys, so I wanted to share my emergency Philippines guerrilla notes that I've got so far. This I don't know how many parts this is gonna be, but I couldn't get it into one part, so I'm just gonna show you certain provinces and things like that, and then yeah. So this would be part one. And I just wanted to give you a little history here in part one so that in case you don't know, you know what I could tell you how guerrilla notes came around. So basically, in World War II, the Japanese, the day after they invaded or they bombed Pearl Harbor, they also invaded Philippines. What the Philippines was a commonwealth of the United States, just like Guam and American Samoa and Puerto Rico and all those are now. So we had a lot of soldiers and stuff in the Philippines. Basically, when they invaded Palawan, that's where the infamous Bataan Death March comes from, which was basically, I don't know how many thousands of U.S. and Philippine soldiers that surrendered. The Japanese thought surrender was so dishonorable that they tortured them pretty much. They made them, I think it was over 50 miles, they made them march with heavy packs and all that. Even though they had trucks and stuff, they could have transported them. They transported them to Bataan, or from Bataan, I can't remember. But if you ever been in the Philippines, you know it's hell hot. I don't even like walking a mile in shorts, so I just can't imagine 50 plus miles with heavy packs and boots and all that. So a lot of people died. I think like 2 in 10 died or something, and yeah, it's still a big deal. The Marines, I think they still have a day for it that they recognize and all that. But anyways, when they invaded the Philippines, they outlawed the currency, the Philippines currency, which was actually U.S. Philippines. I think it was made in San Diego or San Francisco, and then there's a Manila Mint. I don't know, but it was made by the U.S. So they outlawed it and introduced their own currency, which I showed you in my last video. I have a whole set of Japanese invasion notes. And they, of course, took over the military, government, everything like that. But every province, they formed their own guerrilla resistance fighters. A lot of the U.S. military, the guys that were still here were basically caught here for a lot of years until 44 or 45 when MacArthur finally got here. So the U.S. and local Philippine resistance fighters formed a lot of little factions or whatever. So the Japanese money was so worthless. Nobody would take the Philippines money, and it was hard to get because it was all gone. So they started printing their own currencies, and they're pretty useless as well, but they were used as a currency. So they said they're each backed up by the Philippine government, and they're redeemable after the emergency. A lot of them say redeemable at face value after emergency or after the war. So it was basically guaranteeing that when the war was over, the emergency was over, the government got back to normal, you could go to any bank or whatever and redeem these for face value or their equivalent in the local currency. So if you're a store and you had a bunch of these because you've been selling food, it's not useless. Anyways, so yeah, I'm really interested in this history. That's why I've come to Philippines to find this kind of stuff. And I looked it up, and there's a lot of provinces that made this guerrilla money. And a lot of them are really, really hard to find. I mean, I haven't found 90% of them yet. So I'm just going to show you what I have found. And this is part one. So part one, I have Negros Occidental. You can see it there, Negros. That's a region, and I didn't know this before. If you guys collect these, there's Negros Occidental is one province, and then there's Negros. That's a whole different province, and I was getting confused because the money looks a lot different. But yeah, it's different provinces. It's not the same guerrilla fighters, same emergency money, so it's different money. So I have some of that. That'll be in another part, but this is just Negros Occidental. So here's 5 centavo. Such a tiny amount. But I'm sure poor families, I mean, everybody was poor back then. You'd want, this is all you can get, really. Maybe to get some rice for the whole family. And these are really, on a collector's note, these are really uncirculated, awesome condition. Here's a 10 centavo. Lawful currency of the Philippines, Negros Occidental Province Currency Committee. Emergency circulating note of 1942. Such interesting history. Here's a 20 centavo. Green. Kind of hard to see. So yeah, I just want to point out, it was real hard times. The Japanese, I mean, you guys know, they were extremely abusive and all that. They were killing people. They had just finished the rape of what's that city in China? Forgive me for not remembering the name, but it's the rape of China, basically, where they just went in and killed and raped everybody, like the whole city, millions of people. And now they were in Philippines, basically doing the same thing. But they had a lot of mines and stuff they also wanted to use in Philippines. Here's a 2 peso. This one looks awesome. Blue. Pay the bearer on demand. $2. And I have, this is a 19... It looks like 43. I can't read it, but it says city of Bacolod, which is a city in Negros. Negros is a big island. Negros Occidental, whatever. And this one's different. It's also 2 pesos. You can see the difference. And it says the same thing, but it's 1941. So I guess the styles changed in 41 and 42. Got a lot better looking in 42, that's for sure. Or maybe that, I don't even know. That might be 43. Either way, awesome note. And I guess the styles changed those 2 years. Here's the 5 peso. Again, the styles changed. This is getting to be a bigger note for back then. Emergency circulating note of 1941. So here's 1941. Oh man, here's 1942. City of Bacolod. Bacolod Bank, whatever. And here's a No, this is a 10. So, look at this 5 peso. 1942. City of Bacalao, Negros Occidental. But it changed a lot. See these two? 5 pesos, 5 pesos. This one looks a lot better. But, oh, they're both 1942s as well, so I think maybe it's different banks. Because this one says Bank of Bacalao, and this one just, I don't know. Maybe you guys know. But there's a couple, even for the same year, there's a couple different designs. So, it's pretty cool. That's the 5 pesos. Here's a 1 peso. Again, 2 different designs, huh? 1 peso. And 1 peso. Red Seal, Bacalao 42. So there's 2 peso, 1 peso, 5 peso, and here's 10. Again, 2 different designs for Negros Occidental. Boom. Awesome history. Love it. To me, it's a miracle that any of these survived. I mean, nobody back then had money. Nobody, everybody was getting killed. In fact, I saw a law where if the Japanese soldiers caught you with this emergency guerrilla money, it was the death penalty. But the Japanese money wouldn't get you anything. You just starve. Like I said in my last video about the Japanese invasion money, you need like 1,000 pesos just for a book of matches or something. It was so useless. So they had these, and made it the law that they're worth face value, so you could buy rice and whatever. But people were so poor that they weren't collecting these. Nobody was. They should have been in circulation. Nobody was hoarding them for a future collection. That's for sure. I mean, everybody was starving and they needed everything they could get. So I wanted to show you these as well. I think these are my most rare so far. They're super hard to get and they are not cheap. By the way, these you could get these. This is one of the more popular ones, not as rare. So these you could get these for like $5 each. But this is my more rare one, maybe $20 each. Province of Capiz. So I've been to Negros, but I don't even know where Capiz is. This is not uncirculated, not awesome condition, so I don't want to take it out of the plastic. But maybe you could read some of this. I'll try to read it. But series of 1943, 1 peso. Province of Capiz. Pay the bearer on demand, 1 peso. Lawful currency of the Philippines. Emergency loose change of 43 for the committee. And then it says President of the Treasury or something. I don't know. This is a really cool find. I don't know if you could find uncirculated condition ones. Like I said, they were getting used. And this is a tiny province, I assume, because Negros is huge. They probably printed a lot, but Capiz I've never even heard of, so this is awesome. This is the 1 peso, and then I got this tiny one, also Capiz. 50 centavos. So half a peso. Sorry about the glare. I just don't want to take it out of the plastic. They're like brittle. They need to be preserved. But I could read it. Province of Cadiz will pay the bearer on demand 50 centavos. Blah blah blah. Yeah, it's all the same. 1943. I don't know if it says anything on the back. I think it's supposed to say the same as the other one. It's faded. But these are an awesome piece of history for my collection. I love it. I love these hard to find, rare things that just need to be preserved, need to be remembered and kept. So that'll be my little part of history, is just trying to save these, trying to show the world, but also not let them die. So even with all these, even though they're less rare, they're still rare. This will probably be the last time anybody touches these, at least for as long as I own them, at least another 10, 20 years. I have a lot of, I just showed you one of each. I actually have a lot of each denomination. But these will go in plastic sleeves and then inside a plastic sheet that in a book, and just never touched again. They need to be preserved and taken care of. So yeah, this is making my collection awesome. In the next video, I'm going to show you guys more provinces. They're different designs, different everything. Some are more rare, some are less rare, and yeah, I'm still searching as well. So I will see you guys in the next video.